What's up, guys? Miles back with another video, right? On today's video, I feel like this is a very, very important video, right? I feel like this is a very, this is going to give you a lot of insight to what's going wrong or going right in your life, right? I feel like this is a very needed video. I feel like this is one of the most important videos I've made to date. So I feel like this is going to be a good one. If I look down, look at my notes right here. I got my notes on this video, right? So if you look at the title, right, it's titled, Why It's So Hard to Be Yourself, right? And it's extremely hard to be yourself when everybody around you is not themselves and they're trying to encourage you not to be yourself. They're trying to encourage you to be somebody else, right? And it's an even bigger journey to figure out, how do I find myself? That's a question that we all have to answer at some point, right? And it's not an easy answer or easy question to answer, right? So why is it so hard to be yourself, right? I was going to go into, society and how society shames you and how the institutions shame you into being average, right? But I'm going to save that for the second point. The first point that we got to talk about is how your parents, your family, your friends, everything, your environment growing up, how that influences your belief system, right? Because it starts there, right? People don't understand the importance of good parents and good family systems, right? They don't understand that, right? So why is it so hard to be yourself, right? Point number one, family and friends, right? If your parents, right, do not give you a good blueprint to life, if they don't give you a good guide, map, quest guide to life, right, you're going to be led down a debaucherous path, right? If your parents are not giving you good advice or not giving you good, not just advice, but good information, good knowledge on how to deal with stuff, well, when you get out here in the society, then it's going to be 10 times worse, right? Because you're going to be learning on the job, right? So the reason why the family structure is so important, right? Because that sets you up to deal with the society. And the fucked up thing is that you have to realize is if your family, your parents and everything didn't give you good information, well, you're fucked right out the gate, right? You have to, whenever you get up to a certain age, you have to, when you have the mental capacity, you have to unlearn all that programming they gave you because you found out it was the wrong programming, and you have to figure out what works for you now, right? So that's why the family structure is so important, and that, you shouldn't have kids with just any and everybody, you know what I'm saying? So point number two, there was something else I was going to say on point number one, but I forgot it right now. But if I remember it, I'll go back to it. So the society, right? So let's just say hypothetically, right? You were good parents, right? So okay, your trajectory is going straight, right? They told you how to deal with people, deal with stuff, and your trajectory is going right. Now, if you had bad parents, hypothetically, you're already starting down here, right? If life was a race, you'd be lapped already, right? Before we even get into society, because your parents didn't give you a good blueprint, didn't give you a good guide on how to deal with stuff through life, right? So, and that's what I was going to say, right? I just remembered it. The reason why your parents are so important for your belief system and how you shape your outside life or your future in life is because when you're a young child, you pretty much have to depend on them for everything, right? You ask your mom for what this means, and then you ask your dad what that means, and, how they coexist with each other. All that stuff matters within the environment and how you're supposed to treat people and do stuff, right? This is so important that if you look at the research, right, the people in prison are single mothers, or people that are in prisoners come from single mother family homes, right? They're not coming from families that are stable together, right? Which says a lot about the family structure, right? Which is a huge problem. I can spend a whole other video on that, whole other live stream on that, right? But I've spent about 4 minutes on this point, so I'm gonna go to the next point, right? So, society. So depending on how your family and everything is structured, if you have a fucked up family, well shit, it's gonna be tough for you. You're gonna have to figure this shit out by yourself. If you had a good family, you know, good information, you're gonna be, you know, you can take some hits and blows here and there. Society. So if you know school, college, the military, your job, pretty much anything that teaches you to conform to groupthink, right? They teach you to conform to the group. They don't want you to be an individual. They don't want you to think for yourself, right? You get to asking too many questions on your job or in the military, they start to say, hey, you're asking too many questions. Your job is just to do this and to be a, you know, just to do the role and don't ask anything, right? Now, granted, and within a structure that's needed, but at the same time, what if the structure is a bad structure? What if the structure is not what you thought it was? What if the structure is really corrupt, right? Or somebody telling you to do something and you're supposed to do it no matter what, that could lead to a lot of consequences that you don't need, right? Or that you don't want to be in. So, society. They beat out everything. You get shamed by other people. You get shamed by the leaders, your managers, your everything, to not be yourself, to not think for yourself, to not ask questions, right? They beat all that stuff out of you because they teach you to go work for somebody. They teach you to be essentially, you know, a slave in a way, not a literal slave where you're on a plantation where you're getting beaten and stuff. But they teach you in a way to be like a serf, you know, where you stay at a certain level because you don't have the brain capacity to outthink or think to the level that the people at the top are thinking at, right? So if you don't realize the bigger picture in all of this, well, it's going to be extremely tough for you. You're going to be easily manipulated, easily put in situations that you never thought were good situations, right? So that's a tough point that you have to realize, right? Nobody in society really cares about you individually. They want you to do what they want you to do. They want to herd people into a certain group, and so they can do what they want them to do while they go over there and do something else, right? It's a big shaming tactic. So, next thing. People don't want you to be better than them, right? See, growing up, I could spend hours on this point right here, because this point talks to me directly. When I was growing up, I used to have a whole bunch of ideas. I used to have a whole bunch of energy. I still have a whole bunch of energy and ideas, but when I was in high school and everything and I had these big aspirations, I feel like everybody that I would speak to about these dreams and aspirations, they would shoot it down immediately. They wouldn't even give it a second thought. That comes from the teachers, the coaches, that comes from friends and, you know, peers in your group. Like, all that stuff comes from that. And it's a little bright outside, so I'm going to put these on because I don't want to squint the whole time and end up with an old man squinting face at 20-something. So, but every idea, everything that I wanted to do, when I told somebody about it, right? Because whenever you're a young person, right, you seek the validation of the people around you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want them people to like your ideas and to co-sign them, because that makes you feel good about yourself. That gives you some self-esteem. That gives you some confidence, some self-confidence, right? So you go through asking these people, your parents, your coaches, your peers, your everything, right? Everybody seems to shoot them motherfuckers down, no matter how. And in your mind, you're like, it makes complete sense. I've freaking mapped out the plan. It's gonna be like this, this, and that. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit off, but I feel like I can really do this shit. But when you ask somebody else about it and they shoot it down, that kills your self-confidence, right? And the worst thing about it is, you go out there to do it and then you fail and you're like, yeah, maybe they were right. That's the worst thing ever. because you start to believe what they are saying, and you start to doubt yourself. And once you doubt yourself, it's not much we can do for you. It's an uphill battle from there. So the thing is with this point is people can know that you have a good idea, but they're going to shoot it down anyway because they don't want you to surpass them, right? People want you to stay at their level or below. You know what I'm saying? They don't want you to elevate past them because that makes them challenge their own story. That makes them challenge their own position in life, right? And that makes people compare and contrast, right? And when people compare and contrast, envy and jealousy is born out of comparison and contrast. This is why social media is such a big thing, right? This is why depression in society is such a big thing, because everything is on screen for us to compare and contrast ourselves, right? And we never think we're good enough. We never think that we're where we're supposed to be, right? So, last point. This is a big point as well. And this video is going longer than it should, but this is a really important video. I gotta get all my points out. People hate what they don't understand, right? See, if you're an average person, everybody would like you. Everybody would understand you, right? The popular kid is really average if you think about it, because everybody gets along with him. The above average kids, nobody gets really, they don't get the, see, the popular kid, he's average but has the high social status, right? Whether from however he got it, right? But if you break it down to the molecule, that the popular kid's not really that smart. He's not really that, intelligent. He's not really that charismatic. He could be, let me rephrase that, he could be very charismatic. That's probably why he's popular. But he's not past the personality and past the